All right, we're gonna do the best we can tonight. the I don't know how much I've got in me. It's been a rough day, rough week, rough month, but we're gonna. I got a lot of good info today through the SBA and our state's SBDC, which is through our university system, small business development. Damn it, what's that C stand for?
It don't matter.
It doesn't matter, but they're starting to pump out a lot of great info. I put some of it up on the podcast's Facebook page. It's through the state of Georgia, but it is SBA related, so I'm sure it's good across the nation. It's got to do with the payroll protection program and the business, the economic disaster loan assistance, and something that I was unaware of until about noontime today. If you have any credit, if you have any loans that's guaranteed by the SBA, even though it's a private lender, if it is guaranteed by the SBA is going to pick up all of your principal, interest, and fees for the next 6 months. All right, they're paying it. This isn't a loan. So there's a lot of good stuff out there, and it doesn't all have to be because you are doing any financing through the SBA. I mean, the first two I mentioned should be open to pretty much any small business under 500 employees. I'm not sure I know of a towing service over 500 employees. If there is one out there, God bless you. But we just want to get on.
I can think of one that might be close, but I got an email just a little bit ago, maybe an hour ago, from one of the big SBA lenders, giving updates. They've started writing some of the actual rules and application process for the PPP, payroll protection. That's been a big mystery to this point. There's been a lot of guidelines and a lot of kind of loose structure on what the program will be, but they've changed it. I just got an email a little bit ago from one of those lenders, because I reached out to all of them just to see who might have the application available the fastest. I know the government gave all the lenders 15 days to have their application available, so they all still have time. But originally it was whatever part of the loan, now I'm just talking about the PPP, whatever part of the loan that was not forgiven, which we'll get into what's forgiven and all that here a little bit if everybody wants. But they originally said it'd be 4%, and it would term out at 10 years, whatever that balance was, and you could defer for up to a year on your payments. That's changed. It's now termed at 2 years and at 0.5% instead of 4%. So it's almost same as cash, basically. 0.5%. The interest is going to be minimal, deferred for 6 months. It gets a little more.
0.5?
0.5.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yep. 0.5% for 2 years on whatever portion is not forgiven. And there's a calculation on what's forgiven based on your payroll and all that. Other than that, everything's about the same, but this bank, Live Oak Bank, it's one of the biggest SBA lenders in the country. They actually published the application about an hour and a half ago. You can't submit it, but you can look at the PDF version to see exactly what you need. Who we bank with, they sent us a list 2 or 3 days ago of what they thought we would need if we wanted to apply, so we could get it all ready. Their application is not ready yet. And I think there's a lot of confusion. People think the PPP is, you do not apply directly through the SBA. You apply through the lenders. Yes. The EDIL or EIDL, economic injury loan, that's directly through the SBA. You apply directly through the SBA, in which I've been looking at it. They're now on their third attempt of the application process. The original one that came out last week was online, all online. Then they took that site down, or it crashed, whatever. They kept it down, and you couldn't do anything. And then they put up this website where you could just put in your email address and upload the whole application, print it, fill it out, upload it. And now they've got this like 10 questionnaire,
Yes.
get into the pipeline application. So it's kind of evolved. I'm sure they're overwhelmed. I get it. But the new part is this 10,000, they're calling it a grant now. 10,000 of that loan can be given right away pretty much. And it's automatically forgiven. It's free money. So everybody that's not applying for that, you're crazy. It's 10 grand. And all you gotta do is scrounge up some documents that you should have readily available anyway.
Yeah. So we got in on that quick app there. We got that sent in. I've been, our bank, we bank through Chase. They're supposed to have their full application available online Friday. They're doing a webinar tomorrow. If you bank with Chase, get with your banker first thing in the morning. See if you can get signed up for that webinar. Quinn, yes, I did see that they were doing that Friday morning SBA loan webinar. If you've got a link to that webinar and you're able to, go ahead and paste it into the comments here so everybody's got it. If you go to our Facebook page, I put the entire PDF out there that explains basically all of these different SBA programs that they've got going on right now. So it seems pretty obvious they're trying to avoid the interruptions that we all expected.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you basically for the economic injury loan, you're going to need, you'll have to fill out a 4506 or 4560, whatever it is, so they can request a copy of your tax returns, corporate and all shareholders over 20%. You're going to need your debt schedules. So all the loans, all the debt notes you have on the book, you're going to have to know most recent ending balance, monthly payment, yada yada. You're going to need to know 2019 ending numbers, so tax return if you got it. If not, then your income statements and all that. You have to fill out personal information for everyone that owns more than 20%, including real estate, rental income, all that kind of stuff. You're going to need personal financial statements for all owners over 20%. For the PPP, it's more company-related information. You're going to need your 941s or your 940s. So your quarter-end tax reports, so all your tax payroll information for each quarter of last year. You're going to need to know it was a little vague, but it said payroll detail for all compensation, 401k, healthcare, time off, vacation, all that kind of stuff. So easily can be pulled out of your payroll system, but you're gonna need that for 19. I went ahead and ran it for all of 2022 just so I had it. Your 401k or if you have a retirement program, all the funding that the company has done, again, in the easily downloaded report from your payroll provider. You will need, that's about it for that one. You're going to need proof of all your healthcare premiums. So whoever your carrier is, you can download invoices, invoice history, whatever, as long as it has an employee detail, just so they can prove all that. That's about it for the PPP. The PPP is obviously a much better deal due to the forgiveness factor. It essentially turns into free money. And with the changes we just talked about, going from, it's no longer termed at 10 years for the unforgiven balance, it's 2 years. And instead of 4%, it is 0.5% for that unforgiven balance. It's still super cheap money that you can use. Even the non-forgiveness part, it's cheap money.
So
But here's the thing: it's going to be a shit show. It's going to be a free for all to get it. If you think you want to apply, you need to get your stuff together, because the minute that application comes out, which I said it's already been leaked, the paper copy of it, you've got to get in. I applied for everything I could do. I've already submitted everything. If I don't want it, I'll turn it down, but I want to be in the pipeline. I've applied twice for the economic injury. I've got everything ready for the PPP, and I've already talked to 5 different SBA banks just in case one of them is not able to accommodate or whatever. I want to be in the mix.
yeah, so Monday morning I came in and I contacted our SBA lender, and I said, hey, if I wanted to apply for a 90-day deferment, what do I need to do? He sent me over the requirements. It was a laundry list. Okay. Today I get notified that the SBA is going to, if you have SBA lending in place already, they're going to pay the next few months for you, 6 months. And when I checked into it, it's automatic. If you have any credit through a SBA lender, it's automatic. Your next 6 payments are made.
Nice.
So you need to contact them. And when I contacted our rep with the SBA lender, he was like, "Oh yeah, no problem." You know, the other day it was like, "All right, here's this stack of stuff you have to fill out." And today when I called him, actually I emailed him. I said, "Hey, I'm understanding this is now automatic. Let me know if I need to take any action." He called me immediately and said, "Nope, don't worry about it. Next 6 payments, don't worry about it." So
Nice.
so I can't stress enough, get in front of this stuff. A lot of the big companies that we all deal with, as far as financing trucks, if you're not using your local lender, you're probably using one of the big guys that the manufacturers go through, and they're offering 90-day deferments. I don't want to say no questions asked. You have to be in good standing. You can't be late. But if you are in good standing with them, chances are you're going to get it just for asking for it. So why not jump ahead of everything and attack this head on? There's once you apply and get approved, there's nothing set in stone that you have to take it. So if we move forward 2-3 weeks and you get your approval and you're like, we got this, don't worry about it. You can go ahead and stop it. You're not on the hook for this stuff. So get out in front of it. Whether you think, if there's a 5% chance you might need it, please go apply for the stuff now. It's really important. So it's going to be the difference. I talked to a few local towers today, and they kind of called us to snoop around with us. You know how that goes. If you keep your mouth shut, you end up getting more information on them than they're trying to get out of you in a lot of cases. And it didn't sound like any of them really knew this stuff was going on. So hopefully, if you go on the SBA's website, if you get with your lenders, just do some Googling. You're going to find a lot of information. Get ahead of this stuff and get it taken care of now. Don't wait a few weeks to where you're 100,000th in line. You want to get on board now, and you want to get the stuff applied for.
Yeah, the PPP is a no-brainer, I think. They're giving you money to pay your payroll.
Yeah.
So, you don't have to take the full amount you qualify for. If you don't want to have anything non-forgiven that turns out to an actual loan, then that's fine. But they're giving you money, so I would take it. Aside from the SBA programs, talk to your lenders, your everyday lenders, about your notes, truck payments, whatever it is. I've talked to a lot of them. They're doing interest-only payments, or they're just straight up deferring payments and tacking it on, to the end of the loan. it doesn't hurt to ask. I've heard some that aren't. They're holding tight, but I've heard of some that are. So, I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask. In Ohio, we have a state-ran workers' comp program. So we pay the state. We don't have a choice for workers' comp. They've deferred it for 3 months, but in 3 months, you're going to have 3 months worth of premium sitting there. They throw the word defer around, but it's delay is all it is, because you still have to pay it. I don't know why they think we're going to have 3 months worth of premium sitting there in 3 months. I guess they're waiting on everybody to get, these loans and this funding, but make sure you understand what's going on. There's a lot of stuff going around. Healthcare, medical insurance carriers deferring payments. No, they're just delaying payments. You will have 3 months as of right now. I think this will change. I think they'll end up eating this. They're going to get bailed out. The government's going to bail out the insurance carriers, and they're going to wipe out these payments, I think. But as of right now, you're going to be on the hook to pay all 3 months of premiums when they come due in 90 days. So just understand what's going on.
Yeah. Also, healthcare. We were notified by our healthcare provider that anybody who needs any kind of testing or treatment for the virus, they're waiving all copays and deductibles. They just want to take care of it and be done with it. We had a local clinic that we use a lot. They sent it out. They're waiving all copays. If anybody's concerned with whether or not they've got it, contact them. You can contact them over your phone, your tablet, your laptop, whatever. They will do an online consultation with you and decide whether or not you need to come in. And they're waiving all those fees. I mean, there's so many. You can tell. I mean, by all these programs being made available and all these fees being waived, I think it's pretty clear we need to all be taking this pretty seriously at this point. I'm totally guilty of 2 weeks ago going, I'm taking it seriously now. So I hope everybody else is. I'm sure in different parts of the country, this seems to be at different degrees of seriousness. My sister and my nephew work in a hospital up in southwestern Connecticut, about 45 minutes out of New York City. It's a nightmare. It is an absolute nightmare. No matter what anybody tells you, up in that corridor right there, it is a nightmare. You even got states now checking out of state tags and verifying where you're going. Yeah. Apparently, a lot of people up in the tri-state area, a lot of them have vacation homes in Vermont, New Hampshire, Cape Cod, all that. Well, they're figuring if they're stuck in their house for 2-3 weeks, get the hell out of Dodge and at least go to their nice place where it's a little quieter, it's less populated, and they're actually being stopped and they're having to verify where they're going, why they're not in their state anymore.
Yeah, Florida's making you pull into the way stations, right? And they're checking. Yeah. And if you're from, I think it's New York, New Jersey, or Connecticut, they're saying no dice, basically, turn around. You're not coming in, which even though they've had South Beach open for how long? I know it's closed now, but all of a sudden they're the progressive take action state, I guess. But yeah, they're not letting you in. And I think that's going to be every state soon. I know Ohio extended the shelter in place, stay at home order until the end of the month. Yeah. I think this is April now. I'm not sure what day this is or what month this is at the moment. This is like March 33rd, I think. The days are running together, but guys, this is not going away anytime soon.
No, Frank Shear down on I-95 doing the tire change. Please be careful. Tire changes scare the hell out of me. Oh. Nate, South Carolina, I guess they're not doing it. We just got notice at 4:00 today from our governor here in Georgia. Tomorrow afternoon, he's going to be signing a shelter-in-place order. By Friday, it's going to go into effect. Nobody knows what the details of it are yet. We're going to know by tomorrow, but we don't know. We know, the listing of essential businesses is pretty insane because, they're saying restaurants can stay open for curbside, takeout. Um, Bike shops in Georgia have been deemed essential. Our local bike shop that me and my son deal with almost daily, they've been busier than ever. People are pulling bikes out of their shed with 5 years of dust on them, and they're bringing them in to get tuned up. Bike sales are through the roof. I mean, so it's really odd what's being classified. It's things you wouldn't even think about. Us being involved with interstate transportation and these trucks, obviously we are. Um, TRAA seemed to get that gray area cleared up. So thank you to them. But I mean, it's so strange state to state. We actually had at about 3 a.m. on Facebook, we had a Georgia mayor decide he's going to just do away with all this crap. Don't worry about it. No shelter in place. And there was so much outrage that a few hours later, he was rescinding that whole thing and saying, no, we're going to do the shelter in place. So, I mean, it's just going back and forth. It's really difficult to keep up with the information that's going on and coming out here. I guess, I mean, I try not to listen to the news too much anymore, but I mean, we're having to now. So,
Yeah, I mean, agree with it, think it's overblown, whatever you think, doesn't really matter. This is our reality for at least a month, at least. And I think it's going to be longer. In Ohio, they keep talking about flattening the curve, so we don't have this huge spike because the healthcare system can't handle it. Not enough PPE, not enough masks, not enough hospital beds, ICU beds with ventilators, all that. It's which is good, I guess, but it's just pushing it out. It's making, I mean, this is not going anywhere for at least a month. I think probably 2 months. And the impact to your business is going to be more 6 to 9 plus. I was on a panel call the other day with some people from across the country, and that was kind of the consensus was, you're going to feel the impacts of this for at least 9 months. Cash flow is going to be the most important thing you manage right now. Even if you're staying busy all day, if those are credit customers, hold your breath, man. I mean, think about how much money you have and the stress you're feeling right now about paying your bills. I mean, your customers are in the same boat. You're not getting paid as fast as you normally do. So the impacts of this on cash flow are gonna hurt for a while. So just bear down. It's not like they open the floodgates here in a month and then everything's going to be back to normal. It's not. It's just not.
No. Hey, Frank, if you go back, I guess you came in a little late. If you go back, we talked about the SBA stuff quite a bit, and the guidelines are posted on our Facebook page. I put those up earlier today. It's like a red and white PDF guide put out by our state's SBDC, so you can go back.
I can recap real quick,
okay,
in case there's more people than just join.
Sure.
The 2 SBA loans, the economic disaster injury loan, it's the one that's up to $2 million. You apply directly through the SBA, not through an SBA lender. You must go through the SBA itself, the federal level. The website has already changed 3 times on the application process. 1 was all online, 2 was all paper, and now it's a short, abbreviated online application. You can find it online. You're going to give them the ability to request your transcripts for the company of your tax return, 4506 form or 4560 form, whatever it is. For the company itself and for any company owner over 20%, you're going to need to know personal information, assets, rental income, rental property, or all the real estate properties each owner over 20% has. You're going to need a personal financial statement for every owner over 20%. You're going to need a debt schedule. If you have notes and loans, you're going to need to know all that information, who it is, how much, what the principal balance is, what the monthly payment is. You're going to need most recent income statements, you're going to need to know your revenue for 2019. You're going to need to know your cost of goods sold for 2019. All financial information you should be able to get to. PPP program, much better deal. They basically give you free money. Also, on the economic disaster loan, there is one question that says, would you like access to $10,000 now, whether you get the loan or not? They're giving away $10,000 basically to almost anybody that clicks that button. So you might as well get that. Automatically, it's forgiven. You don't have to pay it back. It's essentially a grant. They're calling it a grant now. So I would do that just to get that. PPP program basically is to keep your payroll going. It covers payroll plus a few other expenses. You qualify for 2.5 times your average or your monthly payroll. You're going to need to know 2019 detail compensation, wages, retirement, vacation, time, all that stuff. You're going to need to know that. Company funding for retirement programs, what the company chipped in, you're going to need to know that. You're going to need to know, you're going to need to prove your health insurance premiums. So you can pull down invoices or whatever online. You're going to need your quarterly tax reports, your 941s for 2019, so all 4 quarters. Other than that, it's going to be information that you should know about company owners. Now, one curveball I have heard is that you're going to need to have your original EIN assignment letter. I don't think that's true. I know one bank was saying that you might need that. Nobody has that. And if you try to request it through the IRS right now, it's a nightmare. They actually have a recording. Once you get through all the prompts to request, it's like a 147C. It says, sorry, we can't help you right now. That's actually what the recording says. So maybe it's true, but I don't know. But you can fax a form. It's an 8821, I think. You can fax in and get a copy of that faxed back. I don't know that you'll need that. It seems silly, but I have heard that.
I wonder if that EIN assignment would be in the original corporate book. Like if like we had our attorney, set up our initial corporate book.
I would think.
For some reason, I have a feeling I've seen it in there. So you might have to, knock some dust off of that thing. But if you could find it, a lot of the stuff, it sounds like an overwhelming amount of information, but really, if you use someone like Paychex, they ought to be able to help you out, provide a lot of the info. If you're using QuickBooks, whatever your accounting software is, you or your bookkeeper should be able to put your hands on this stuff pretty quick. It's not as bad as it sounds. Once you start digging through it, it's not as bad as it sounds. So please do not hesitate just because you feel a little bit of intimidation. If you actually look at these programs and see what's needed and dig into it, this should be stuff that you've got pretty readily available. So,
and if not, you need more than a loan probably.
So how do you feel about? I think this is going to be a great wake up call to a lot of people. Things you need to have on hand in case of a disaster, because a virus isn't the only disaster we're going to run into as business owners.
I had spent some time. We had like a string of like 13 tornadoes come through Dayton back. It was like Memorial Day weekend, the end of May. So right after that, we put together a disaster plan as far as dispatch, what we're going to do for internet, what we're going to do for phones, where we could go, what we could do if this office went down or if this office went down, where we could move people, how we could set up temporary dispatch, blah blah blah. We didn't prepare for not being able to be within 6 feet of each other. This is a whole different ball game. It's much natural disaster. I would felt like we were ready for a tornado or a flood or a fire, whatever. I'm confident that we could have picked up within a couple hours and been, back running full force. Maybe that's a future episode, is a little disaster planning, because I've spent a lot of time on it to make sure we were ready if anything happened. Because towing's a weird industry that if your phones go down, that's your lifeline. That's how your police departments get a hold of you for the most part. I know there's other ways, but not being able to get to that phone is, if your phones are ringing or not working, you're basically out of business.
Yeah.
So we spend a lot of time on that.
So I've heard of plenty of people that have disaster handbooks in the office. So in case, let's say the owner is in Aruba for the week and something like this happens, there's a handbook for people to go off of in case they are not readily available. I know at least one owner who pretty much carries a jump drive on him all the time, and it's got all of his important contacts, all the information he needs in case of an emergency. So maybe this is a wake-up call. Maybe this is what we all need to start doing, and be prepared for something like this.
Yeah, and real quick, I'm going to hop back to those 2 loans real quick for Frank and anyone else who joined late. The economic disaster, as of right now, this is all subject to change, but as of right now, it terms at 30 years, 3.75%, up to 1 year deferred. They changed the PPP. I got an email about an hour and a half ago that they've changed the guidelines on the PPP. Originally, they were saying it termed at 10 years at 4% for the non-forgiven part. It's now 0.5% for 2 years. So it's super cheap money, and the term is, I guess they're thinking they need to recoup their money a little faster, but it's still very friendly terms. So that's that. But yeah, a disaster planning episode would be good. We're kind of scrambling for 2 episodes. We have 2 more episodes to finish out this season. We recorded 5 very quickly back in the winter, January, February. We tried to record them and hammer them out and have them ready to go. But these last 2, one was going to circle mainly around the Florida Tow Show, so that got blown up. And then the other one we just kind of have been going around and around about. So we have 2 open spots if anybody has some good ideas. Disaster planning might be a good one, given the environment we're in right now.
Yes. Tom Tedford, if you're still watching, I apologize for not following up with you more quickly, but we're going to do the recording with what you suggested, kind of along with the Florida Tow Show, with all this crazy stuff that's going on. That's kind of fallen behind right now. So we will contact you shortly, but we're just like anybody else. We're trying to figure this stuff out.
If nothing else, Tom, we can bring you on and let you bulldog somebody from OOIDA again. Maybe we'll do.
That was great. Yeah. So really, show suggestions. The disaster planning would be great. Another thing, a lot of these different programs are going to send you forms to fill out. Some of them will require specific forms just for them to be filled out. But if you can put together like generic financial statements, personal financial statements, and have them on hand right now to where you can just dole those out as needed. Most lenders will take just a open form like that. Some of them will require one on their special paperwork, but you might want to put this stuff all together in one place right now. If you have to fill it out for one lender or one program or the SBA, do it in a format on your computer where you can easily duplicate that for other programs, other lenders. You're going to save yourself a lot of grief.
Yeah, and if you think you want to apply for these, which I think you should, you can always turn it down, but you should get your name in the pipeline quickly because it's going to dry up. Apply for the PPP. I would check with multiple lenders. Don't just depend on one and think you have a good relationship with one. Get online, look at the SBA lenders. Most of the big banks are SBA approved lenders: PNC, US Bank, Wells Fargo, Chase, Huntington. They're all SBA approved, but there's other banks that only do SBA work. Live Oak is the biggest. That's where I got the updated information and the copy of the actual application from earlier. Reach out to all these places. There's tons of them. Some banks are only going to be able to do so much. So you might have to go to another bank. It's just how it's going to be. There's so many people that are going to be trying to get this money. This is not a towing industry specific thing. You're going against every business in your town, in your state, in the whole country. So get your name in quickly.
Yeah, and something we ran into. I mean, the day this stuff really started to hit serious, I was signing paperwork on a new truck deal. And it was a lender we don't normally use. We've used them in the past, but we don't typically use them. And, the same day that we were supposed to sign paperwork to take this new piece of equipment, I'm contacted by our two big equipment lenders, and they're saying, hey, just let me know if you need 90 days, just to take a little break here while you figure things out. I turn around and contact lender number 3, the one we're making the deal with that day, and said, hey, these guys are offering me 3 months. What do you got? 45 days is my best offer. It's like, man, I don't know what's going on in 45 days. I can pretty much guess what's going on in 90 days. But come on, everybody else is offering 90. Nah, 45 is the best we're doing. Well, okay. So that's where you understand who you're dealing with, and maybe you need to turn around and offer that deal. The reason we're going with number 3 was they were just a hair better on the terms. But if they're not willing to work with you in a situation like this, and the other 2 are, it might be worth going with that slightly higher rate to have a lender that is a little more in touch with what's going on and what needs to be given up here.
Now, here's a conversation I've seen a bunch the past couple of weeks. People trying to compare from a business environment standpoint, compare this coronavirus thing to the 2008, 2009, housing market crash, recession. To me, it's not even close. This has shut the world down. I mean, everything from one end of the whole supply chain spectrum to the other. I can't think, there's a couple, very few, but there's a couple industries that are thriving right now. But for the most part, 95% of us were killed. This has been the toughest 3 weeks that I've been an adult. Have to make hard decisions and people, employees that you care about, and have to have some tough conversations and make some sacrifices. And it's been brutal. To me, it's not even close. 2008, 2009 sucked from a business standpoint, but this is not. It's a whole different world to me. Other people might think differently, but it's not even close.
When did you come into an ownership position?
Actual ownership was later than that, but from accounting, I was, I came in. I have a finance degree. I came in. as a controller right before 2008, 2009, and 2007. So from a financial standpoint, I could see the impact on the businesses, and it's no contest. Things were different, a little tight back then, but
Yeah.
I mean, the whole faucet has been turned off right now.
Yeah. So we purchased our company in January of 2008. Perfect timing. Perfect timing to get into business ownership, right?
Welcome.
Bottom fell out. It was scary, but I don't know. This is just completely different. It has a different vibe, has a different feel to it, more uncertainty. I mean, when the markets go down and business goes down, you almost know, and you can almost plan for it coming back up again. It's not going to stay like that forever. But what we're in right now is such a God, man, nobody knows it. Nobody's experienced this before. I don't think we've still got anybody alive from the Black Plague days. I mean, we have no idea what's going on. We really don't know. I mean, let's see. The other day we were told hopefully by Easter. Now we're being told 30 days from now, 30 days from now, 28 days from now, we may be told it's another 30 days. I mean, nobody knows. So I hear a lot of discussion referencing, is this a V or is this a U? Is it going to come back up a lot later than we expect? And I don't think any of us know that. I don't think anybody knows that. So there's no way to plan for anything. So get ahead of all you can right now and apply for these programs. There's a lot out there right now. And we're really fortunate that we're in a country that is able to offer these programs to us. Take advantage of them, man. I mean, for all these years, we've all been paying into all of these programs. We've been paying our taxes, and now it's time that we're probably going to have to fall back on some of that stuff. So take advantage of what you can. Don't fall behind the curve.
I mean, the fact that they're putting this 8-week parameter on the PPP program tells me that they're thinking that it's going to be 2 more months before everything kind of opens back up. I think they're right. It's going to be June before this, and it's still not going to be a return to normal. It's not going to come back all of a sudden. It's going to ramp up. This whole thing stopped. They threw the brakes on, and the whole thing stopped, fell on its face immediately. But it's going to be a slow ramp up to get back to normal. Now, when the world kind of does open back up, you're going to pick up quickly, but you're not going to get back to where you were a month ago, overnight, like the way you fell. We have a comment or question here. What protocols or suggestions do you have in place to protect your employees in the field? I don't think any of us have any groundbreaking ideas. I think we're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. You're limiting riders in the trucks. You're having the trucks clean and sanitized. You're having your guys in gloves, guys and girls, your operators in gloves, and make sure they have cleaning supplies. Make sure that nobody's allowed to come in the office, and people that are still working in the office are working, are distant from each other, spread out. Most people, like what we're doing, we're pushing everybody to do impound releases online, to make payments online, to submit. You can go to our website and upload their driver's license, their title, their police tow ticket, release paperwork, whatever it is. All humanless interaction. I mean, that's
so what we're seeing is we're not seeing that big of a drop in call volume, but nobody's coming after impound. It doesn't help that the police departments have shut their offices. Some of them require releases. I don't know how they plan on dealing with all that. But I know that the people actually picking up the impounded stuff, even though the impounded stuff is slowed down, we know the police departments are trying to limit their interactions with these people on the side of the road. I don't blame them. So a lot of the PD volume is down, but you're still going to have accidents. You're still going to have people that do get pulled over for blatant violations. But I mean, do what you can do when you go into work tomorrow morning. Try to figure out what you can do to streamline the process of these releases. Can you offer some sort of non-contact release? If they can upload IDs, stuff like that, release forms, great. If you can limit it to just having to hand them a key or place a key out on, outside your front window or something, if you can do that, great. It's going to make people feel a lot more comfortable. It's going to protect your people. We for a little while, we're doing a kind of driver discretion. If they thought for any reason this person was, a customer that they had to have, that they were picking up, if they thought for a second they had any kind of sign of any kind of symptom, then it was their call. They do not have to allow them in the truck. We ran into a weird situation the other day where a driver of a truck we were towing, I don't get it, but thought it was funny to joke about having contact to the virus. Ignorant, stupid. All right. We contacted his employer. His employer said this is BS. He hasn't said a word to us. He must have thought it was funny. Yes, we have now verified that this guy just thought it was funny to say that he thought he had it. We shut the door right there. No more riders in the trucks until we can be a little more certain what we're doing. So, there's no reason we are in the customer service industry. There's no reason you have to be a jerk about not allowing somebody in your truck. Make it as easy as you can. Hey, when the call initiates, suggest that they might want to call somebody, whether it's a family member, Uber, whatever. But I don't think you could trust people right now to say, no, I have no signs, I'm okay to ride in your truck. I don't think you can trust anybody right now. So you might want to just put an end to that if you're still doing it.
Yeah, I mean, nobody appreciates an ill-advised joke more than me, but you can't do that right now. You just can't. We actually, we've been doing a no rider policy for a while now. We've had a shelter in place for, I don't know, 3 weeks now. And we couldn't find an Uber. We've had a lot of truck drivers that needed to get back to the terminal or get back, if they're over the road guys, get home, whatever the case is. Couldn't find a taxi. We couldn't get these guys an Uber. So we pulled, we had a vehicle in one of our impound lots. It's a decent SUV that we took ownership of. It was an impound. We've retrofitted a piece of plexiglass to separate the back seat from the front seat, and we're shuttling these people to wherever they need. We're charging for it, but for $20 of material or whatever we've got in it, we can protect our people. We can get still service the customer, get them where they need to go, and offset our costs. But it was out of necessity. We couldn't find an Uber. We couldn't find a taxi. We couldn't get these guys back where they needed to go. And we, in good faith, we couldn't just dump them at the Pilot or the Flying J or whatever and wish them well. I mean, these are big customers. We got to think about down the road. Yeah, we have to protect our people and our company right now, but we got to think about, we're going to want these customers in 6 months when everything's back to normal, hopefully. So think about how you can please everybody. There's some ways out there.
Hey, Brian Sieber, I hope I said that correctly. No adjusters have been to our lot in 2 weeks.
Same.
We've seen one adjuster in 2 weeks at our smaller location. We've got 2 locations. I guess a few more have been through our other location, but we've seen one customer, one adjuster in the past 2 weeks.
We've had a decent, I mean, it's still slower, but we've had a decent amount of individual owner releases, cash releases, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, our adjusters haven't been in. We see the same adjusters every day. Yeah.
So
I mean, we do, 150 or so impounds a day. We see the same adjusters every day. We knew who they are. We reached out to them, said, hey, we'll take pictures for you. We'll get the cars wherever they need to go for you. We'll send you pictures. We'll upload whatever you need, help you out, get these cars out of here.
Yep.
Nah, I guess they don't care. They're going to pay, they're going to come back whining later is the bad part. They're going to want discounts. They're going to want storage reduced. And that's not fair. We offered to do whatever you wanted us to do, and you chose not to. It's not my fault your company told you to work from home.
we've done the same. We've reached out to the insurance companies. We've reached out to the adjusters that we're familiar with, and just nobody's taking us up on it. And we know it's coming. We know in a month they're going to come back. Come on, this was a bad situation. You got to work with us.
Bad for us too.
Yeah, the police departments. I mean, come on. If we accommodate your troubles, we're just creating troubles for ourselves. I mean, if we give you a break on your bills, who the hell's going to give us a break on our bills, right?
Right.
So I'm waiting for the flood. The people that can't get releases for their vehicles, they're in a pretty shitty spot. They may not need their vehicle, but they've got these storage fees going up. There's nothing they can do about it. Yes, it's their fault. The damn vehicle was impounded to begin with. But I don't know. We're going to be hit with a flood of people asking for deals. And I don't know. Each of us is going to have to decide at that moment, is it worth taking a little less to get some cash in the bank, some sort of cash flow rolling, get these damn vehicles off our lot? Our lots are full, so everybody's going to have to make that decision on their own based on their own situation. There's no blanket policy that we can apply across the country here.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to move cars. I mean, I would think for cash flow purposes, you're going to have to cut some deals. Scrap metal's going down. It's going to take another hit, which it already has this month. It's going to continue to take a hit for a little while. It'll come back, but it's going to take a hit. So you might as well get rid of them, release them back to the owners. But yeah, I mean, we're going to, like I mentioned, I was on that call the other day with a few people, and they asked kind of what your motto is right now. And one guy said pray, and one guy, I forget what else was said, but I said scratch and claw.
Yeah.
Cut every cost you can to survive, find every avenue of business you can. This has given me a good opportunity to kind of step back and reevaluate our business, who our customers are, what we might be missing. When times are good, you don't think about these things a lot. So from that standpoint, when we do come out of this, we're going to be a better company. It's just a matter of when that happens.
I can't put my finger on it, but I just really feel, I really honestly believe this is going to end up with a lot of positive things coming out of it.
Yeah.
Have some of us had some really good times over the past few years, really good income, things are going good. We've gotten a little complacent. Maybe this is a nice wake-up call. Get your shit together, focus. A lot of us could probably use that right now. And it'll turn out to be a good thing. So, try not to look at this in a totally negative light. Take a look at what you're doing, how everything's set up from payroll. Are you hourly? Are you commission? I mean, this is a great time to take a look at all that stuff. And while we're talking about that, um, we brought up in a episode not too long ago the people asking about 1099s. Are you a subcontractor? Okay, you're not. You're an employee. If you're wearing a uniform, driving somebody else's truck, uh, running their schedule, you have to run their calls. You're not a subcontractor. You're an employee. Okay, so how many of these guys that have been taking these this 1099 work are finding out all of a sudden that they don't have unemployment available to them, or something along those lines? So, if you're an employer that's paying that way, uh, it, everything could come to light right now. It could really bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
And really, these guys that are working for us around the clock, weekends, holidays, all that, you really want to treat them that way and not provide these safety nets to them, uh, making them pay all their own taxes and all that. It just it's wrong to me. They should have workers' comp. If they're 1099, they're not workers' comp. I saw someone arguing online. Oh, I guarantee all my 1099 guys are covered under my workers' comp. I'm not buying it. Run a legitimate business. Protect your employees. Show them some respect for what you're doing. On the flip side of that, employees. A lot of us owners right now are scratching and clawing to do the best we can to preserve jobs, preserve paychecks. You need to help us. All right. This is not the time for stupid, unnecessary damage claims because you got lazy. All right. This is not the time to be laying out unnecessarily. This is not the majority of tow company owners out there are good people, honest people that want the best for their employees. Okay. Right now is the time that you return that favor and you return that respect and you do all you can to help us protect this stuff. So take
Yeah,
the
I mean,
pre-tow photos to protect yourself from damage claims. Don't cut corners. You're as big a part of this as anybody. You've got to help us. You've got to help the owners right now. So please pay attention to what you're doing. Don't cut corners. Be careful, and do what you can.
yeah, I mean, about the only bright spot in this whole thing, which it's not even a bright spot, but the amount of just good employees that we have, people coming up, hey, I know times are tough. I know this thing's crazy. I know nobody knows what's going on, but I'll do whatever you need me to do. I'll help any way I can. I'll do whatever I can. I mean, that helps. That's huge, because none of us know what we're doing right now. As an owner, we don't know what we're doing. There's not a handbook for this. This is not in any curriculum that we've learned that we don't know what's going on. And the bad part is we don't know when it's going to stop. We're sacrificing, our own paychecks as owners. We're sacrificing all kinds of different stuff. And so are the employees. We get it. You're sacrificing money because there's just not as much there right now. There's not the call volume. There's not we don't need you for as many hours right now. So it sucks. It sucks for everybody. But, just that simple gesture of saying, hey, I know times are tough. Instead of complaining about it and bitching about it, what can I do to help? If you need me to cut hours, I'll cut hours. If you need me to do this, I'll do this. If you need me to work nights, I'll work nights. Just owners and employees, just be decent people right now. That's all we can do.
Yeah, we know there's people out there right now saying, what the hell? I ain't got no damn calls. And then you got the other guys saying, hey, times are tough. If you need to cut my percentage a few points right now to save a little money, I get it. I understand. I'm just glad to have a job. So,
Right.
take a look at what your position is. Getting greedy, getting selfish right now is not going to help anybody, and probably most likely not yourself. So,
And drivers, office staff, employees in general, pay attention to how your owners are handling this and remember that for the future. And on the flip side, owners, take note of how your employees are handling this
yeah.
and what kind of team player they are. And you're going to remember that in the future too.
So I'm surprised I made it this far, because I am at the end of these days, I am more run down than usual.
I feel you. This is about our fourth attempt
Yes.
in the past 2 weeks to get on here. A couple of nights where I just had to say,
Yeah.
can't do it. Can't do it tonight.
Yeah.
Just didn't have it in me. But
I didn't have it in me tonight, but I just, after saying we were going to do it a few times, I figured this is probably pretty important, just to try and get some information out to everybody. Again, check the SBA website, check with your lenders, get in front of this. Don't wait till 2 weeks later where you're saying, holy shit, how am I going to pay my whatever? Take care of it now. Do yourself a favor, your employees a favor. Get ahead of this shit, because it's not going away anytime soon. So,
and they're giving away money, so you might as well get in line. Send us some ideas, suggestions for the next 2 episodes to finish out the season. The Florida Tow Show getting canceled, stole an episode from us. So we've got some time. We've got two spots open. So send us, whatever you think. I think the disaster planning might be a good one. Our episode that just came out this past Sunday was on driver health. Kind of odd timing that it came out. It was recorded back in January, I think. So none of this was even a thought at that point. So it does not talk about coronavirus at all.
Yes.
Which is actually refreshing. I listened to it the other day.
Certified Corona free.
About the only thing you can find right now that is. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out. It's not about Corona. It's about driver health. We need our people to be healthy. It's a very tough job to be healthy and live that lifestyle.
I honestly think it's one of the more important shows we've done.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, I'm about fizzled out at this point. So,
Yep.
Please send us some suggestions. Other than that, I think I'm done for the night.
Yep. Everybody,
all right.
Stay safe, survive.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
See ya.